Brad MacGuffin review. All right. Lone Star, 1996. This is a spoiler warning. Spoilers. Major spoilers. Okay, John Sayles, director and writer here. And we have Chris Cooper, he's starring as Sam Deeds. And Elizabeth Pena as Pilar. And we have Chris Christopherson. And Matthew McConaughey, just a little bit. And John Sayles, very independent director and writer. And you may have seen some of his movies: Mate One, Eight Men Out, City of Hope, Passion Fish, The Secret of Rowan Inish, Men with Guns. He also wrote Mate One, the screenplay for Eight Men Out, City of Hope, and Passion Fish. He also wrote those movies. And he's also wrote screenplays for Piranha, Alligator, The Howling, Battle Beyond the Stars, The Clan of the Cave Bear. So a lot of 80s classics there. What we have here is drama, mystery, and it's a Western, as you can see. And it starts off by two soldiers. One has a metal detector and he's looking for empty bullet casings because he makes art out of them. And the other one, what's he doing? I can't remember. But anyway, it's an army base, and they're in the firing range, the old firing range, and they find the body of somebody. And Sheriff Sam Deeds gets called in to check out the skeleton. And starts an investigation. And besides the bones of the skeleton, he finds sheriff's badge. So, rumor has it there's a story going around about his father, Buddy Deeds, who used to be sheriff. And the story goes that Buddy had a fight with Sheriff Charlie Wade, and on the same night, Charlie Wade went missing. And we hear versions of this story from people that were eyewitnesses and that knew Buddy and Charlie, especially Hollis, who was a deputy sheriff. We have Sam investigating this story. He's heard rumors about it. He's heard the legends. His father was very, very popular sheriff, and a very well-respected member of the community. But we hear about Charlie Wade, and so we're getting snippets of that backstory through the movie. And this movie is set in a border town near the Mexican border. But we feel like Sam is sort of sick of hearing about how great his dad was. And he had left the town for a while, but he's back. And he's now sheriff, and he's getting compared. I mean, one of the first scenes is one of the locals that knew Buddy is saying, well, his son's not as good as he used to be as sheriff, and he's a hard act to follow. So yeah, Sam is probably very sick and tired of hearing about how great his dad was, and it feels like he wants to let people know the truth. And maybe his dad wasn't as great as everyone thinks he was, and maybe if he exposes the truth about this killing of Charlie Wade, he might get closure on his relationship with his father. Because we learn as the movie goes on, we learn more about their relationship, Sam and Buddy's relationship. Chris Cooper plays Sam Deeds, and you may have seen Chris Cooper in Adaptation, Mate One, This Boy's Life, American Beauty, The Bourne Identity, Capote, Jarhead, The Town, and Syriana. But yeah, he's been in a lot of great movies. And yeah, he's great in this. His performance carries you through the movie. Elizabeth Penna plays Pilar, and she's a local school teacher. And she used to have, in her youth, a relationship with Sam, but Sam's father and Pilar's mother did their best to keep them away from each other, and they never understood why. But seeing as Sam's back, he tries to rekindle his relationship with Pilar. And you may have seen Elizabeth Pena in Blue Steel, Jacob's Ladder, Rush Hour, La Bamba, and The Incredibles. So we have that as well. We have a bit of romance. We have them trying to rekindle. As the movie goes on, they we see snippets of their relationship in the past, and yeah, that's another aspect of this movie is that relationship growing stronger again, and it's also done very well. Chris Christopherson plays Charlie Wade. Now he's our bad cop. He's ruthless, takes bribes. He's real bad apple, and yeah, you can understand why Buddy doesn't like him and doesn't want to take bribes for him or have anything to do with him. You may have seen Chris Christopherson in Cisco Pike, Star is Born from 1976, Convoy, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, Heaven's Gate, Big Top Pee Wee, Blade 1, 2, and 3, Payback, and I'm Not There. And yeah, he's great as the bad sheriff, and really unlikable, and yeah, great performance from Chris Christopherson. Um, Now Matthew McConaughey, this is an early role for him. We see snippets of him in this. He's not in it that much, but of course Matthew McConaughey, you've seen him in Interstellar, Dallas Buyers Club, many more great movies. And yeah, for me, I'd love to have seen more of that sort of era, and Matthew McConaughey, more of Buddy Deeds and Chris Christopherson. Yeah, just more of that older story. Another character in this is Hollis, played by Clifton James, and he used to be the deputy sheriff when Charlie Wade was sheriff. And we see younger version of him and more recent version. And you may have seen Clifton James in Live and Let Die, Cool Hand Luke, Superman 2, Mount Golden Gun, The Untouchables, and Juggernaut. So yeah, it was great to see him in this. I can remember him from James Bond, the Mount Golden Gun, and Superman 2, and he plays he seems to be typecast as a sheriff, but he does it very well. We also have Joe Morton. This is another side story to the one we get here, and Joe Morton plays Dell, and he's a colonel who's taken over the army base and helping to shut down the army base. So that's his job. He's got a couple of years of working at the army base and shutting it down. And you may have seen Joe Morton in Terminator 2 and Speed. And we get a look at we become to learn that Joe is the son of Otis, who owns a bar outside of town, and Ron Canada plays Otis, and their relationship is very strained because Otis left Dell's mother for another woman, and Dell lost contact with him and hasn't had any relationship with him. So we get that relationship, that fractured relationship, and those two trying to make amends, and you know we learn more about how Otis, even though he didn't have much contact with his son, still has a shrine to him. He's followed his career, and he seems like he's very proud of him, even though Dell didn't have much contact with him growing up. Um, and we also have a soldier played by Chandra Wilson, who you may have seen in Grey's Anatomy. She plays Athena. She has a bit of trouble in Otis's bar. Soldier gets shot, and she's a witness to this. Or she's involved in this shooting, and we have Dell trying to help her, trying not to be too hard on her, and help her out with reports and having it on her record. We also meet Dell's son, who was there on the night of the shooting in Otis's bar, and he's there to check out his grandfather, who he's never really had contact with. So we're getting this sort of family, the fractured family. We're getting a storyline where they're beginning to get to know each other again, and old grievances are breaking down, and forgiveness, and so we're getting that. That's another storyline in this as well. We're also getting to learn a bit more about Pilar's relationship with her mother. Our Miriam Colon plays Mercedes Cruz. You may have seen her in Scarface, Sabrina, One-Eyed Jacks, and we're getting vibes that Mercedes doesn't like Sam, and we're sort of wondering why. Mercedes is a very well-respected restaurant owner in the town, and but seems to have lost a lot of sympathy for people trying to come over the border and work hard and become a successful business owner like she has, and through an employee that works for her, she begins to have memories of how tough life was for her when she was starting out, and her husband, and another plot line, another storyline there as well. So this movie is very textured, and there's a lot of layers to it. There's a lot of stories going along on this, and but it's all very well cut together, and really well written. The main mystery here of, did Buddy Deeds shoot Charlie Wade, and Sam trying to prove for sure that he did. He also finds out that there was a big lump of money given to Mercedes from the coffers of the local government fund or town fund, and that's another aspect that Sam discovers that would would not look good for Buddy. So we get this aspect of the story of Sam trying to break down the myth of his father's legend and reveal him to everyone for what he thinks in his head could be the case, that he could be a murderer, and he could be corrupt, when everyone around him has only good things to say about him. I like that aspect of the story, and I'm going to spoil it now, so fingers in the ears. We find out at the end that it's Hollis and not Sam that has shot Charlie Wade. Hollis, through the movie, has witnessed Charlie Wade's murdering of innocent people, and So he's just had enough. And yeah, that's a great reveal because you feel certain that uh, Buddy is our shooter here, and Buddy. So yeah, that's a nice twist, and it sort of strengthens the case that Buddy wasn't a bad guy, and Buddy was the the legend that he, people tell about. So we have this storytelling. There's also we also have scenes of the school, and teachers are debating what what parts of the history of that area, about the Alamo and the Mexican Wars, and what views are taken about the the racism in the area, and the way the history of the area is. What's the accurate version? Are teachers taking their own versions of the history and teaching it? And we get a bit of a debate on that sort of issue as well. And I suppose the same goes for legends passing down, stories being told, Chinese whispers. Is it an accurate telling of a man's life or a man's reputation? So all very interesting topics that are touched upon in this movie. And yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention as well: keep an eye out for Frances McDormand as Bunny, the ex-wife of Sam. She makes a brief appearance, but yeah, you'll remember her in it. And another person I want to mention is Stuart Dryburgh. He's the cinematographer in this. This looks great. And one thing for me that I love is the transitions from modern days to the past. Real elegant transition from the present to the past, and it's really beautifully done. And Stuart Dryburgh also worked on The Piano, The Painted Veil, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and Once Were Warriors. For me, that was a really satisfying conclusion. It wasn't that sort of turn of events, that it wasn't who we expected or suspected. Sam doesn't decide to, you know, drag Hollis into prison, and he lets Hollis and Otis be. The one thing that does leave a sort of sour taste in the mouth for me is the love story between Sam and Pillar, because it's revealed that they're half sister and brother, and that sort of sours the ending for me a little bit. So that's but minor quibbles. That's just my sort of problem with the ending of this. Well, maybe it shouldn't be a problem. Maybe yeah, it's just a minor quibble. But yeah, there's so much to like in this, and so the truth isn't going to be revealed. Buddy's going to be left with that story hanging over his his life, or his legacy, that he took out Charlie Wade, and Sam seems pretty happy with that. There's a good line at the end where he feels that Buddy's a legend. He can take that burden on his legendary status, and seems okay by him. There feels like a bit of closure between Sam and Buddy in that aspect of their history, and yeah, so I'd be giving this a 4 out of 5, but 4.5. It's very close to a 5-star movie for me. It's definitely worth your time. Fred MacGuffin's reviewed Lone Star. All right, all right, all right.